I are doing here, and they're each going to introduce themselves in just a second. But this whole live stream is really about how to maximize your outdoor space and entertain in it this holiday season. It's such a gorgeous space that you have, whether it's a small little balcony or a full backyard or a shared communal space in an apartment building. It really is a great asset to have, and we want you to take all of those indoor traditions, bring them outside, bring that decor, live in that space, and love it. And so we've got tons of tips and tricks for you. We also have giveaways. You guys are going to be getting a code to get $300 off at Outer. You're going to be seeing new product reveals. And one very lucky winner who I'm very jealous of is going to get a conversation set from Outer for free. It is an incredible 2 pieces that are 2 of my favorite. I'm staring at them right now. So while we'll give everyone else a second to get into it, I'd love to go around and introduce ourselves. So Terry, you are the man, the myth, the legend, the brain behind all of this. So I'd love you to kick it off.
Yeah, hello everyone. This is our second live stream. First one I did with Orly. It was really fun, and that's why we're doing the second. We got such a good reception that we realized that it's something that we want to continue to do. So I am Terry. I am the co-founder and chief design officer of Outer. So I designed all the products. So I also look for feedback all the time for new things we want to design. And I just want to say this really quickly because I'm going to get changed. But before we did a test for like the technical side of things, I saw Orly and she is dressed beautifully, and it looks like it's probably like 45 degrees where she is in Southern California. And I think we all know that it's probably not 45 degrees. I'm in San Francisco and it's like 70. So for sure it is not 45. But I decided I wanted to look cozy for just a few minutes before I start getting too sweaty. So at some point I'm going to take off my cozy sweater just so that I look like I'm in fall weather, but I'm actually wearing shorts and a t-shirt today.
Terry, I very much appreciate your commitment to the fashion, the entrance into this fashion statement.
Let's see who lasts the longest.
Yeah, I'm going to win. I'm going to win.
Well, you've been wearing yours the whole time. I just put mine on like maybe 3 minutes ago. So
yeah. Well, guys, I'm going to introduce myself really quick. For those of you that don't know, my name is Orly Shani. I am a TV host and a DIY expert. I do DIY home decor and fashion. This jacket is one of them, which is why I could not help myself but to wear it. I work on the national daytime talk show called Home and Family, which is on the Hallmark Channel, where I'm a resident DIY expert on that show. I've been a cast member there for about 6 years. I have a YouTube channel called The DIY Designer that has 320,000 subscribers and growing every day. It is such a fun thing. And I've had my Outer sofa. I've been an Outer owner and a showroom rep, or what's the proper term, Terry? Showroom
host. Thank you.
Host. Showroom host for about a year and a half now, almost 2 years, and it is one of my most favorite pieces of furniture. And today we have on, like Terry said, it was just he and I last time, but today we have a very special guest. We have on Emily Porche. Emily is the owner and designer at Porche Co, which is a lead interior design firm, super successful. She is the brain behind that beast. And she's also been an Outer owner now for about a year and a showroom host. But I'd love, Emily, if you can introduce yourself as well so everyone understands why you've got all the nuggets of truth in that brain of yours.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on today. But unlike you guys, I am in Atlanta. So it's about 65 degrees here. So a little bit cooler than there. So it's super nice here. But for those of you that don't know me, like Orly said, I'm Emily Porche and I am the owner and lead designer over at Porche Co. We are an online interior and exterior design company. So we offer home design to people all over the country, regardless of location, for both your inside and outside of your home. So if you're interested, check out our website. We'd love to work with you. But I'm on here today because I have had my Outer sofa now, and I've been a showroom host for not as long as you, Orly, but probably about a little over a year now, and I absolutely love it. I love it just as much today as day one. It just holds up so well, and I'm such a big Outer fan. So super excited to talk to you guys more today about Outer and all things outdoor entertaining. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be fantastic. I'll give you guys a little bit of a breakdown so you have an idea of the topics we are going to be covering for all of you watching. So one of the big ones we're going to talk about is just general outdoor entertaining. The ways that you can actually entertain your guests, yourself, you and your spouse, your kids, whatever it may be, in your outdoor space. So we've got some great tips there. We're also going to be talking about bringing some of those holiday traditions that generally take place within your home and taking them outside so that you can have something fresh and exciting this year in a cozy space you're going to create outside. Another one is going to be designing a space your guests will actually use. So putting yourself in their headspace, coming up with solutions for problems that maybe prevented you from using your outdoor space in the past. The next one is going to be talking about why now, which is leading into the cold weather months, is actually the perfect time to not only get your main pieces of furniture, but start designing your space for more use. And then lastly, we'll talk about festive decor, all the ways that you can really transform that space to feel like an extension of the decor you have inside. So before we start with this very first topic, I want to give you guys all a reminder. The code that you are going to be able to use on Outer to get $300 off, it's a $300 gift card, is October 300. All of you have access to that code. You can use it to buy your new outdoor rug, your new outer sofa, some of the new products we're going to be revealing today. And then stay tuned to the very end because we are going to release the name of the winner who gets their own conversation set. So let's get started with the first topic here. And we're going to talk about outdoor entertaining. So my quick tips that I would love to share is really working backwards. I think the best way to do it is to think about what would prevent you from being in your outdoor space and solve those problems first. So if it's things like weather, let's say in the summer months, it's about it being too hot. You want to make sure that you have fans. You want to make sure you have umbrellas. If it's in the winter and you want to think about it being too cold, you want to make sure that you've got cozy blankets and fire pits and all of those things, comfy seating. So start thinking about what would prevent you from being outside. And then you want to go ahead and solve that problem first. Now, Terry, do you have any thoughts within this area that you'd love to touch on?
Yeah, I think the way you just framed it is the right way to think about design and problem solving. Before you get into something looking beautiful, it really is about trying to solve for the functional requirements that you need. And there's a lot this year, and this year is very, very different than the last years or even the last few decades. For instance, we know there's the pandemic happening. We know that we're probably spending more time with our nuclear families or the people that live in our household. We know that this year, you may have had a really big gathering in the past, but this year it's going to be probably a smaller gathering. We know that people are not traveling, and if they are, it's probably within driving distance. So when you start thinking about all these things that are happening and just trying to stay safe with your family, like I've written a list down. So like serving and eating, we know that the way you used to eat at Thanksgiving dinner, you kind of have to think about that public serving spoon. Like, yes, it might be family, but there might be guests that, they have seen other people. So how do you think about serving and eating? Do you pass those potatoes? Temperature, as Orly, you said, depending on where you are, it could be really cold. It could be really hot, probably not so much really hot, but what do you do to solve the issue of being colder? So if you're outside, and it is a particularly cold day, what do you do about solving for temperature? How do you keep people entertained where you might have had the dads hanging out in the family room watching a game and the kids are running around, maybe outside, maybe inside, they're playing video games. So how do you make sure that you're thinking about activities that keep everyone happy? One big one is, new configurations. And when I say that, I think about like what in my head a Thanksgiving dining table looks like. And usually it is like a centralized location, big table, lots of people sitting at that. And, this year is probably different. It's probably a little bit more decentralized. So how do you start thinking about that? And then the other things are like virtual connections where, you may have had a regular group of family and loved ones come over. They're probably not going to come over. So how do you continue the tradition through virtual connections? And then lastly, we can talk a little bit more about that, but knowing that the safest thing to do is bring your Thanksgiving indoor tradition outside. Is how do you begin to recreate that feel of your indoors outside?
Yeah, I think those are such great tips. And I know we're going to have a question in just a minute. Kendall from Outer, I'm going to ask her to see if we've got any questions. But at first, I'd love, Emily, thoughts that you have within this space about bringing your general outdoor entertaining outside this holiday.
Yeah, Terry, I love what you were saying. I mean, this year is totally different. The people that usually probably come to your house, fly in from other states, family, friends, probably a lot of them aren't going to be there this year. And that's just the reality, you know, of the times that we're facing. So that time that we do get to spend with our family members and our friends, and we do see them right now, it's just that much more valuable. So for us, when we are able to get together with friends and family, you know, we want to make the most of that time. We haven't seen them in person as much as usual. So we love to spend time outside because it's the safest right now, really just catching up and relaxing with the other adults. And for me, you know, I have 2 little ones and all of our friends have kids about the same age. So what's really important to us in our outdoor entertaining is to make sure that the kids have stuff to do so the adults can actually talk and have a conversation and catch up. I'm sure everyone that's parents know how that goes. So for us, it's really important to have a lot of outdoor activities for the kids. Some of our favorites here, we do s'mores at the end of the night. We have a trampoline, so that usually keeps them out in the yard. We have a blow-up movie screen that we like to set up, and that keeps them pretty entertained. And then just yard games. I mean, all kids love yard games. And we're lucky enough to live on a golf course, so we like to take walks with them back on there at night after the golfers clear off and stuff like that. But we just love being outside all year round in the South because luckily we have pretty decent weather. And when we don't, we can just turn on, you know, the outdoor heater, and that can usually keep us out here too.
I love that. I love that you've got the heater and you've got the fire pit. Is that what you use to roast marshmallows, the fire pit, or do you have like a separate?
Okay, so we have 2. We have one that's down there that's like a fire pit, and then this one right here is like the fire table, right? So we probably should use the fire pit because that's real wood, but we end up using the fire table and it works just fine most of the time.
I love that. I need a blow up movie screen. What a genius idea.
Yes, you do. You'll use it more than you think, I promise. Even for sports. I mean, the adults love it too.
I love that. What a great thing. So Kendall from Outer is here and she's going to be taking questions. So if any of you watching have specific questions, either for us as a group or specifically for Terry, Emily, or myself, send them to Kendall. And Kendall, do we have one right now that we want to feature?
We do. The first one is for Orly. Bryn wants to know if you have any, you know, do-it-yourself tips for creating a movie night and how you would rearrange your furniture.
Ooh, that's a great question. Actually, while this question is for me, knowing Emily, I actually think she has the best tip for this. So I'm actually going to throw it over to Emily because we talked about something that I had never thought of doing and is genius. So will you, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So we always rearrange our outer. We rearrange it at the beginning of the summer and then the beginning of the fall, every single season. And that is because our outdoor space kind of serves different functions during the different seasons. So during the summer, we have a pool and the kids are always out in the yard. So we like to turn our furniture around to where it's facing our yard. And then in the fall, we turn it around to where it's facing our house because we have a TV mounted up there and it's a little more cozy and you can watch football and kind of hang out without needing to see the pool, you know, like all winter and fall long. But for movie nights, I'm trying to convince my husband of this, but we haven't had a huge gathering for our movie nights yet. But when we do, I have grand plans of him moving our outer down and setting up like little love seats in front of the blow up screen and the lounge chairs that we have for the pool. So I had this plan to create a whole outdoor movie theater when we have a big gathering for it, but it's really easy to move, which is one of the great things I love about outer because we do it like at least 3 or 4 times a year.
And you know what's so interesting that it's not until you actually said this that I thought about it. One of the genius things about the outer sofa is that there's only 2 pieces. There's a corner piece and a single piece. And so you can actually separate them into like movie theater style seating and then switch them back together for like cozy laying down together. They really move very, very easily. And so that's such a great point.
Yeah. Even if someone wanted their own chair, you know, you can have 4, we could have like 5 different pieces out there. So
very cool. All right, guys.
Hey, can I show you? I was going to show you just a technique. I'm not going to talk about design, but like when you're thinking about like outdoor movie night or even outdoor Netflix night, it's super easy. I'm going to show you a setup that I have. And right now I have my laptop set on it, but it basically like having a tripod with a stand and you could put your your projector that you connect to your laptop. And what we do is, and I'll show you, we have just basically a sheet that has grommets in it and we just hang it up. It's not there, but I'll show you. Basically, I would hang it from here. It would hang down, and I'm going to walk over here. So you can see my laptop stand. So the one thing when you're sitting outside is, you know, just having the right tools to do it. Like this is really movable. It adjusts up and down. And you can see I have an attachment that you can just put any flat thing on it. So having that, you can sit it above, below, you can put it wherever you want, but it really makes it super easy to be able to like set something up really quickly. And then, you know, and really, if it's cold, just having lots of blankets for people. But this is like a super easy thing. Get a tripod, get an attachment that actually you can put a laptop on, get a sheet, and get a projector that you can, they're pretty cheap these days.
Yeah, I love that. My husband wanted me to do the sheet, but I didn't give him a chance to try that. So I've heard it works really good though.
Did we lose Orly?
Did we lose Orly? Oh, we lost our host.
She'll be on in a second. Did we have another question, Kendall, that that we want to answer, or we can move on to some of the other topics until she joins us again?
Yeah, I think for our second topic, we were going to talk about bringing indoor holiday traditions outside, from inside to outside, and what that will kind of look like.
Okay. Yeah. So let me you know, just so you know, we got the questions. We kind of did our own research to talk through like the ways that we would try to communicate it to you to make it really actionable. And, you know, like as we think about it, it's like, one, how do you bring the indoors out? And then two, how do you think about designing a space that your guests will use? And, you know, the first thing that we realize is, you know, since COVID started, I think most of us that have outdoor spaces are using it more than we ever have. And, you know, we've upgraded our furniture, we've made it nicer, we've made it more comfortable. And, you know, so we've already started with really getting ready to have a Thanksgiving dinner outside. So as we think about kind of designing your space and bringing the indoors out, one of the things that we had talked about, and it was just kind of an analogy, was and kind of going back to the idea of like a centralized type Thanksgiving event to a decentralized one. And the idea was, well, what about like booths at a carnival fair, right? That's kind of what we were thinking in terms of like making it fun, making it entertaining, making it memorable for people. And some of the ideas that we talked about was, you know, if you do things where if it's decentralized, how do you make sure people have different things to do in the different stations? So for instance, having a beverage station, maybe, and we've talked about like your food might be a buffet style. So you can actually disperse your guests and have different stations to be able to, you know, socially distance, but also have things to do. So some of the ideas we talked about was, you know, one, it could be a Zoom station where you are able to connect with your friends and family that couldn't make it. Maybe you set up something like a virtual Trivial Pursuit. So anyone walks up and asks a question as an idea. Maybe one is a station where you have a Polaroid, take a picture of it, you write a note, and then you send to the loved ones. So I don't know what you would call that. You know, for kids, what?
Photo booth.
A photo booth, yeah. A cheap, easy way of doing a photo booth to like doing like lawn games. And one of the things that I like to do about bringing the indoors out, I'll show you, is you know, the more you're able to create exactly what your indoor space feels like, that's what's going to make it feel like it. So I do have a rug, and can you see that? I have an indoor lamp sitting on my outdoor table, and you know, I do bring it in at the end of the night, but it just really creates something special because it's so unusual to see like an indoor table lamp sitting outside.
Hey guys, I'm back. So sorry, I got bumped off for some reason, but I can see that you jumped into bringing indoor traditions outside.
I tried to hold on. I tried to momentum that you were doing for us, Orly.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So Terry, I assume that you got all your points there. Kendall, do we have a question sort of about that specifically that we can take now?
Yes, actually. There is a question from Leslie. How do your chairs and sofa hold up in the winter weather? And do you have covers for the snow for those East Coasters?
Ooh, this is such a good one. Okay, I'm going to show a partial demo. We are featuring and revealing 2 new products today. One of them is going to be very exciting for you with your snowy weather. I'm going to show you, for those of you that don't know how the outer works, exactly how the cover works. So let me move my, did you lose me again?
Just for a second, you're back.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I hope that it's not a permanent issue. We'll see. So I want to show for you guys how the actual outer covers work for those of you that have never seen it. So basically in the back of each of these cushions is a cover that is built in, just like this. And you roll it down, and underneath is super strong Velcro. So for those of you that have very cold weather, you have 2 options. One is the new product, which you will see in just a minute. The other is, once you wrap it, you just grab it by this handle and you pick it up. So you can bring it inside wherever you would normally be storing your cushions. And then any day, like we had this crazy windstorm yesterday, my entire backyard got covered in pine needles, but all of this was covered. And so when it was time to get ready to be doing this today, all I had to do was pull open. You can either throw it over the back or you can roll it, and it's clean and it's ready to go. So that's the really, like, the big asset of the, in my opinion, of the outer sofa, is how easy it is to always keep it in perfect condition, just like the day you got it, because it takes 2 seconds to wrap it up and 2 seconds to open it back up. Terry, do you want to talk about our new product we're doing, or do you want to put?
We can, so I'll do the demonstration a little bit later on. But we have designed, and we call it the all-weather cover. So where our outer shell protects your cushions, the all-weather cover is designed to protect your entire sofa. We have, just like our outer sofa, we've put a lot of thought into designing it. And when I show you some of the details, you'll understand why.
Terry, I think now would be the perfect time to show the demo.
Sure. Okay. Let me set up. So, before, as I'm doing this, Emily, I didn't get a chance to let you talk about
bringing my traditions inside outside.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
If you could, while I'm setting up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think we're lucky here in the South because we get pretty mild, but still pretty cold, like fall and winters. And it's enough for us to have a heater and the fire pit on, and then for everyone to gather out here without being freezing. And another bonus about being in the South in the cold weather is that the bugs that normally are here aren't here. So it's a lot easier for us to eat outside in the fall and the winter than in the summer and in the spring, because it just swarms with flies and bugs. So we love to gather outside when it gets cold. So I'm sure we're going to be doing a ton of that this fall and winter and this Thanksgiving. And then another tip that I have, just because we have this, I'll show you right here, but we have this fire table right in the middle. This is heavy. We cannot move this. So this stays year round. And something cool that my husband did, and it was a DIY. We're not huge DIYers like Orly, but we can do some little things, is he built, and I wish I had it out here to show you, but he built a tabletop. So when we're not using this as a fire pit, we just set the tabletop on here and we can put all the food and drinks out here when we're entertaining. So that's just a quick little easy tip. Go to Home Depot, get some 4x4s and make a little cover if you have a fire pit to really use it all year round. Can you hear me? I've got some construction going on back here, so.
Yeah, I can hear some beeping. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate all the tips.
That's it.
Let me. If it's our rain, some content about how we designed it. So if any of you have owned outdoor furniture before and you've had rain covers, usually they're really baggy. They don't fit very well. And if it does rain, usually you'll get pooling like in the folds of it. So very much like the way we designed our outer sofa, we wanted to design this thinking about the problems that we have. So ours is quite different. So, if I take that first word, baggy, ours is not baggy. Ours is actually tailored. When you have a rain cover on your furniture, it usually looks kind of ugly. We wanted to make sure that, I think our sofa looks nice And we want it to also look nice when you had the rain cover on it. So I'll show you that in a second. The second is if anyone has had to navigate any kind of rain cover, so like probably everyone has a rain cover for your barbecue grill, and that's a pain in the butt to put on. So let alone think about something much bigger, how hard that is to do. So we knew that the ease of putting it on was also important. So there was like it looking good, making it easy to put on, and also like that bagginess, which solves two things. It makes sure that our furniture doesn't have water pooling. And then so let me show you what we did, and I will put it on and I'll talk as I go. So the first thing, we knew that the outer shell all-weather cover needed to be easy to put on, and usually it is quite hard, but what we did, I'll just show you right here. If you see, even though there are 4 corners, we have a zipper, and the zipper makes it super easy to be able to put on. And the thing I like to say is, for everyone that's put on a fitted sheet, how often did you get that fitted sheet on the right way? And usually it's 50% of the time. Sometimes it's worse if you're really unlucky, and then you have to take it off and flip it around. And the way we designed it is that our zipper is, you can see it is our outer blue. And once you know where the zipper goes, it indexes exactly how you put this thing on. So our zipper goes on the front right corner. So as I put it on, I know exactly how to orient it the first time. So I have that corner on, and I'm gonna put it on this corner. And now that you can see I have it on, all I have to do is zip it down. And it is good. You can see that we designed it where it's not a square, that where the cushions are is actually angled. So when you fold down the cushions, what happens is it helps deflect the rain, so you have no pooling. The other things I can share with you is that, it is form-fitting. So high winds like we had just the past few days here in California won't make this thing blow off. I've actually tested it with my daughter Piper, where I had a leaf blower and I was trying to blow it off. It didn't come off. I even unzipped it and tried to blow it off. It didn't come off. Just to future-proof and make it especially safe, we did add mechanical connections to it. So in each corner we have clips and buckles, so it actually clips to the leg. So it is mechanically connected. It doesn't matter how windy it is; it's not going to blow away. Unless a wind can blow a car over, you're probably okay with this thing on it, because if it blows a car over, it could probably carry away your sofa. So that's it. I'll kind of walk over and I'll just show you.
You know what I love so much too is that it's sleek looking, so that even when it is all in the full cover and not just the individual covers, it still has the shape of the piece of furniture. So it still looks like nice and sleek and not like bulky, like a tarp's over it,
Exactly. And that was the whole point, which is it looks good when it's on, it looks good when it's off. And just so you know, this is an early prototype. So I've had this one for over a year because I really wanted to make sure it survived like a winter, and it has. A few other things that are different about this are that you can see that I made it really leggy. So you can see the legs. It actually goes down further. So the apron is only 2 inches above the ground. So it did more. And you see, I don't know if you guys see, but I have done additional tests, and I wasn't planning on talking about it, but you can see the legs here are the polished stainless steel. We have a matte gray, and I've even designed one that is a rose gold. But I show it to you since just in case you notice like why your legs all different.
That's very cool. Now, for everybody watching right now, I just want to remind you guys that whether it's going to be the outer rug, whether it's going to be the full sofa, whether you want to build a sectional, whatever you want to do, you guys can use the code October300 to take $300 off whatever that is that you want. Remember, we are still doing a giveaway, so someone's going to get the conversation set, and we have one new product release that we're going to show a little sneak peek of what is coming up. So guys, what do we think about moving on to topic 3? which is really about a space that your guests will enjoy. And you guys let me know, is my connection okay now? These are the things that happen when we do live streams.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good right now.
Everything's good. Okay, great. So we're going to talk about designing your space in a way that your guests will use. Now, one of the things that I love so much is double purpose. So for me, I created a DIY ping pong table, and now I'm like scared to move because I'm like, am I going to lose you guys? But I'm going to move. Over here, you can see this big wooden table, this gorgeous giant wooden table, and the line down the center, this is actually a ping pong table. I have a removable net, which I use. And in the summertime, this is a hot spot, ping pong tournament, super fun. But in the rest of the year, and even at night, once the party is over and we're sitting down, I throw a tablecloth and you can see the chairs. This becomes a huge dining table that is underneath this overhang, which is all ivy covered with beautiful lights. And this is a space that we can all convene and eat very comfortably together, because it's not only like sitting around the fire pit, which, just like Emily, I have a fire pit here as well. You can see my TV stand or my laptop stand is all my books right here. But basically, we've got this beautiful coffee table that is also a fire pit. I have a party crasher. Don't mind little Blakey. So the one thing that I recommend for you guys can you give me a minute? Okay, can you give me 1 minute? Guys. What the heck? One of the things that I really recommend when you are getting a coffee table or a fire pit is to get something that's wide enough that it can actually have like plates, so that you can eat around it, and that it doubles not only as your fire pit when you want it on, but when you're not using it, it's just a coffee table that's got a wide enough space. And as you can see, I think ours is about like 12 inches all the way around. And to me, that makes a huge difference, because 90% of the time, it's just like inside our house, the sort of coffee table is where we convene to eat. You know, it's very rare that we sit at the dining table. But I think really thinking about the spaces within your outdoors where you can create little nooks and crannies that can be livable in a way they once weren't. You know, I think that was a general note that we talked about is, you know, this has been a crazy year, but one of the beauties is that we're using our space more than we ever have. We really need to use every bit of our space because we're in our homes so much. We're entertaining in our homes. We're spending our own time in our homes. So really, with fresh eyes, I want you guys to look around your space and start to wonder, where could I set up a little seating space that I never did before? Where could I put a tiny bistro table and 2 chairs that maybe could be my breakfast nook? What furniture do I need that I don't already have to create a lounge outside where I want to cozy up? So I think you want to think about those things for your guests, but also start with yourself, because what you want, how you want to live in that space, is hands down going to be how your guests want to live in that space as well. So think about those big pieces and then work backwards. I mean, I'm obsessed with my outer sofa, but you start with your sofa first and then kind of work into the smaller aspects.
Orly, I have one note on that subject, that it's something that we never thought we would do, but we do outside, is our bar stools. So I don't know if a lot of you guys have bar stools in your space outside, but ours are the perfect height for eating trays, like TV trays. So what we do when we have company over is we just pull up the bar stools in front of us and we eat off of them. And it's just like a tray. And people are like, where did you get these? And we're like, these are just standard bar stools that we ordered online, you know, but it's what we use every single time we entertain to eat off of. So kind of a fun way to think about things a little bit differently, but that worked really well outside.
I love that. And I mean, I think that's really the key, right? Is there's no right way. It's really figuring out what works for you. What do you need? What space can you start using in new and unusual ways? You know, another thing that we have that I really love is, you know, you kind of want to, if you're entertaining outside, you kind of want to keep them outside, you know, like at least I'm like, I got it all set up outside. Don't go inside. And so something like this is just like a rolling cooler cart. So it opens up here and these 2 things open. It becomes a huge ice bin that I can put all the drinks in there, drinks for the kids, drinks for the adults. And then down here, there's a shelf where all the, you know, the glasses or plasticware can go. And so I think thinking of little spaces like that, little tables, little buffets where you can keep the majority of the things that you need to entertain your guests outside so that they stay outside, and have those blankets available, have those cozy pillows available, you know, a DIY jacket when it's 80 degrees, you know what I mean? Just think about all the details, that's all. Kendall, do we have a question that we want to take?
So Lisa wants to know, can you show us how comfy your seats are and how do you not slip between the cushions of your outer sofa?
Slip between the cushions.
Yeah, so to make sure, you know, if you're going from seat to seat, you're not sliding in, that they're really great and sturdy and comfy and amazing.
Well, I can show right here. This is about the gap when I'm sitting on it and it pulls in a little bit. If I get off, it's going to get even tighter, right? So there's nowhere to slip. The seats are heavy enough that they don't need, you know, they come with clips. When you buy your outer, it really comes with everything that you could ever need. And one of the things it has are these clips that can attach the pieces together. We don't even use them because they are strong enough to just stay together and they're not going to move. Plus, then like Emily said, when you do want to rearrange it, you're kind of free to rearrange it. But they are, you know, I don't know if you'll be able to get a sense of it, but it's like, it's super smushy and comfy. The fabric is really, you know, it's strong so that it's durable for outside, but it is smushy. These pillows right here are like smush factor. So it's really, really comfy. I mean, this is my favorite piece of furniture, including in my house.
I was just going to say that I nap out here. Like instead of inside on our sofa, I fall asleep outside and lock the door so my kids will stay inside while I nap outside because it's so comfortable.
And I'll admit that, our office, Outdoors headquarters is in Santa Monica. And when I go and visit, I actually don't stay in a hotel. I sleep on the outer sofa. And it's super comfortable. So like I've had lots of user testing using it. And part of the reason it's so comfortable is because we actually designed it to be more like a mattress than your indoor sofa. And it's something that I always tell people that I ask, but my test is go look when you have a chance at your indoor sofa, unzip the seat cushion and tell me what you find. And my guess is it's going to be a 5-inch piece of, it's called high resiliency foam, wrapped with some polyester batting. So ours is designed where it does have the high resiliency foam, but it also has a memory foam layer. So think about like a memory foam mattress. That's how we designed ours.
Yeah, and it's got a waterproof shell. Right? The actual, so there's sort of two waterproof elements, which is really important for everybody who's looking to get their new furniture for their outdoor space to really live and use it. You need things to be convenient for you. I think that's the most important thing that we've realized is if you really want to use your space, it needs to be easy. It needs to feel comfortable. It needs to feel just like the things in your home where you don't need to unzip them and brush them off the minute that you want to use them, right? So the fact that it is the outer not outer brand, but the outside shell of it, right? The piece that goes over it, the shell is going to be waterproof. Then the fabric, whether you choose the gray or the white, is going to be waterproof as well. And then inside of that, when you unzip it, there is the actual cushion, which is in its own separate thing that is also waterproof. So you've got all these different levels that make sure that your furniture is going to stay protected. And now with the brand new full cover, you're really going to be able to be good in those areas where you are getting heavy weather and it's not just like chilly or dust or moisture. It really is going to have all of those things. I want to
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, very quickly. I just want to remind everybody, I know we have new people coming in all the time, so I want to remind all of you guys that you can use the code October300 to get $300 off any of your outer items, anything you want to go buy right now. Take a look at the site, $300 off with that code October300. And then we also are going to be giving away a conversation set. If you don't know what that is, it's these guys. So it's 2 of these great chairs. These are 2. They can be pushed together like a love seat or separately. We're going to announce that winner later. And we have one more brand new product reveal that we're going to do. But Terry, I cut you off there.
Yeah. So it was a really good question about the comfort, sliding, I think you've covered. And when we designed it, I like to talk about something kind of funny, but it's actually true. And in our design process, I talk about Seinfeld, the TV show, all the time. And in that show, it's all about like the observational things that you see that are kind of funny that we all work around. Like, why is it that you do this? Like, have you ever noticed that someone does that? And my Seinfeld moment when designing this sofa was for outdoor furniture, for outdoor cushions, it's typically made with something called a quick dry foam or a reticulated foam. And the foam is designed so that if you took a cup of water and poured water over it, the water just drains right out. And, you know, like any kind of foam, there's going to be some remnants of water, but still the water flows right out. If you've ever sat on an outdoor cushion, your butt will know that it is not the same as an indoor cushion. Rather than actually like sitting in and feeling supported, you're sitting on top of it. And so like the Seinfeld moment that we had was, why do you want to let your cushions get wet in the first place? Because once they get wet, that just means there's a place for water to stay, and mold and mildew to kind of harbor inside of the foam. So for us, we said, well, why let foam get wet in the first place? But yes, it is made differently. Yeah.
I think that that's actually brings us into our next topic really well, which is why is now when it's cold the time to actually start designing your space? You know, generally you would think logic says, during the cold months, I'm not using it. I'm just going to leave it out there and move on. And I think we all have some thoughts on that. And actually, Emily, it's Terry and I have been babbling. I would love to throw it to you for this. If you have any thoughts, I know Terry and I do as well, but why now when it's kind of cold and maybe we think to spend time inside, why it's actually the right time to design your space outside?
Yeah, I feel like it's just cozier outside. I mean, you're used to being inside all day long, right? I mean, a lot of us now are working from home, so we are in our home all day long. So I think when we have time to really just unwind and relax, just shifting that outside instead of inside of your home just makes it a little more special and a little more cozier. So it's worth it to do a couple extra things outside to really just make sure that you can keep using that space in that way. For us, you know, just getting a simple heater out here, that heats our whole patio space. And then in combination with the fire pit, we're hot. Like my husband, after 5 minutes, is like, turn it down, you know? But it's just cozy being out here instead of inside where we just spend most of our time, which is nice, but it just makes it more special to be outside, I think, especially during the times when you wouldn't normally be outside all the time, like the fall and the winter.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. And I also think, you know, for most of us, our home, whether we own it or we rent it, is a huge chunk of our expenses. You know, we really value it. We put a lot of money towards it. It's the biggest chunk that most of us have in our lives. And so you want to get the most out of it. You really want to make sure you are sort of like sucking every last, you know, value and asset it has to offer you. And if you are lucky enough to have an outdoor space, again, whether that's a balcony, a courtyard, a full-on backyard, a front yard, whatever that is, or a shared communal space, you really want to make sure that you're looking at it like a real asset, which it is. So there's a couple tips I'll give for when you are thinking of your space in the colder months. Number one, there's the visual, right? There are the things that actually make things feel warmer to us. That's like lights. Bistro lights that you can hang up around your space are going to give a warm glow. You've got yours on. I've got mine on right now as well. They're up there. They go all the way around. And it does create this warm glow. So physically, when you're in your house and you see that outside, it's going to be like a gravitational pull sucking you outside. So that's number one. The next thing would be, I think, thinking of those elements, just like Emily said, that actually provide literal warmth, which is going to be a fire pit or, you know, a heater or something like that, a small space heater, and then some cozy elements like blankets and the rug. The outer rug has been one of my favorite new things that I've gotten. It's down here. You can see it is cozy. It's super, super soft on your feet. And this is another thing that sort of makes it feel like you're outside. So think about those different elements that would bring you out so that you are getting the most out of your space. Terry, what do you have within the sort of cold weather months?
Yeah, I think you just nailed everything that I would have said. And like, I think about, like you said, there's the visual and there's the tactile. And then what I would maybe throw in a little bit is just like the layering of those things. So like, like I do have string lights. I have my lamp sitting out here. I have some hurricanes. And the idea is that, fire pits. So the idea is the layering of the lights is really beautiful. If you have a covered space like Emily's, you can have like hang a pendant overhead. So there's a focal point, but having the layers of like the bistro lights, that gives kind of the ambiance, like the focal points for reading, like my table light here, votives, candles, hurricanes. Like if you can add that, it's just going to, really draw you into the space. And, I was thinking about this, and I agree. There's a big question of why do you want to get outside when it's colder? because it's better to be inside and be cozy. And then I think I would rebut by saying, have you outside in a hot tub when it's been snow outside? Special does that feel? Like, it feels like such a luxury to be able to be warm and cozy, and it is 32 degrees outside. And like it's kind of like that while you're not sitting in a bubbly hot tub. You could be sitting in your outdoor lounge. It could be 32 degrees, and it really comes down to the things that are keeping you warm and cozy. So the visuals of the lights, to I think about like seating in a, like, if you get to ever travel in business class, they have the comfort set. So like if you had your sofa, and in each seat you had a blanket for every person, so it really feels special. So like there's all these ways that you can make it feel warm. You can have a comfort kit that is a blanket. You could have maybe an insulated thermos. You could have those hand warmers, for instance, the things that you can get at like the sports store. So I could see you doing something where it's so inviting. Here's my kit for you to hang out outside. There's the things that are fixed that are the design things, but the other things that actually are really comfortable.
Yeah, that's great. Make it a party. Like, it's like enjoy, embrace the fact that it's cold and go there. Kendall, do we have questions from everybody listening that would like to pop in?
Yes, Teresa wants to know how the feet of the furniture stand up to water and snow.
Terry,
sounds like that's a question for me. Yeah, that's a really good question. I'll show you a few things, but I live just about maybe less than a quarter mile from the Pacific Ocean, and with that, everything rusts. I showed it last time. I'll show it again. Here's my lamp, so you can see it's all brown and rusty. And when we designed our legs, we did have an issue early on, and even though we had ordered stainless steel legs, or designed it with stainless steel legs, there's all kinds of tests you do when you're designing product, and the test for corrosion is called a salt spray test. And with the salt spray test, it actually puts like sodium into a chamber, and it sees how long it takes to corrode. And our legs corroded. And we asked our vendors, like, well, why is it corroding? Like, well, it's because it is 304 stainless steel. I'm like, okay, so what do we do? They said, okay, go to 316 stainless steel. Like, okay, we're going to go to 316. 316 is marine grade steel. It's what you find in like sailboats. So we said, yes, let's go to that. We cast a leg in that, and did the salt spray test, and it failed. So we're like, well, why is it failing if it's 316? So over the course of trial and error, we figured out what we needed to do. There is an additional step that we do where we dip it in an acid bath, and it eats away all of the iron on the surface of our legs. So essentially it's creating a barrier that is impermeable to rust. I'm gonna see if I can show you. Hold on.
Did we lose him? I think we just lost him. Okay, while Terry gets reconnected and comes right back, I actually, I can't wait any longer. So it's too bad, so sad, everybody. I was going to wait until the very end to show one of the next products, brand new products that are going to be coming out very soon, but I want to show it now because our next topic is actually about how we can start bringing festive decor outside. And one of my little nooks that I've got building out for my festive fall decor is resting on a brand new outer product. So it is this outer accent table, which this is a prototype. And so the actual color is going to be slightly different than this, but it is really, really awesome. It almost looks like a solid concrete piece, but it isn't super heavy like concrete. This particular one has ridges. There's 3 different styles. I'll show you guys the other 2. They're going to be available really soon, which is super fun. But I've got the other 2 right here, and you can see these guys. So depending on what your aesthetic is and your style is, we've got these 2, or they're going to be 3 different tables. And I think what Terry had mentioned to me is that it's going to actually be like a lighter concrete, almost similar to my fire pit, maybe more like this tone. But when he comes back, I will let him explain. But this does bring us in to the decor. So you can see right here, and we're going to get back to you, Terry. We jumped ahead to the sneak peek of the table. And then we're going to come right back to you. But
sure,
you can see like this little sort of tableau that I've created here feels really fall. It's just a couple of the pumpkins. I decided to go with it in these fall colors for these pillows and this pillow right here. And again, like a nice charcoal blanket. Now, in a few minutes, while Terry is talking, I'm going to swap out a couple of those details and show you how quickly the entire space transforms into what feels more like holiday, like Christmas type holiday. So Terry, I want you to pick up where you were. And also, if you don't mind acknowledging, I mentioned this was a prototype. And so the final version might be slightly different. If you can mention how it's different from this, and then continue what you were talking about while I set up. I'll show the table while you talk about it.
Sure. It is actually going to be a little bit darker. We wanted to just do this just as a start, and based on the feedback, we can adjust as needed. And I'll talk about that in a second. I'll just finish. I'm sorry I dropped off. It's the beauty of technology as well as the downfall of technology. But for the legs, just to finish off, it was designed in a way over like trial and error where it does not rust at all. Everything else that is metal in my backyard rusts except our legs. So it survives perfectly in snow, in rain, and the worst environment, which is where I live, which is a marine environment. I'm not sure where you left off with the accent table. I didn't know if you wanted me to talk a little bit about kind of the design of it, or you're just going to do a transformation of your space.
Well, we showed it. I would love to know, because I know you well enough to know that nothing is just a table. There's going to be some genius, weird, patented, no one's ever thought of before solution or way in which it's sustainable that I'm sure you have, because I feel like I know you too well now. So I'd love you to talk about that if there is an element. And while you're doing it, then I will leave it here so everyone can see.
Yes, that's great. Say hello to Popo. He's slinking around right now. I don't know why he looks so scared. That's my cat. So yes, when we started out, we were thinking about like kind of those timeless materials that kind of work for the outdoors. And there's woods, particularly teak. We are introducing a teak collection next year. There's concrete, which you see. There's all-weather wicker. There's aluminum, and everyone knows that concrete is just a material that survives the outdoor with all of the construction. And that's actually one of the things that is also bad about it. Concrete is the number 2 biggest contributor to the carbon footprint. The way concrete is created is you basically burn limestone down to create a slag that creates the concrete. And you actually have to burn it. The temperature has to get to 2,400 degrees. So imagine all the materials and energy output that you need to do that. So that's why it is the second biggest contributor to the carbon footprint. So, while it's a great material, it was also a bad material. So as we've looked at it, this concrete really is going to be like I think it's going to be a multi-year process. So while it's great, we knew that it was not great for the environment. So step 1 for us was to figure out a better concrete. And the better concrete is we're using something called magnesia cement versus Portland cement. If you do any research, you'll find Portland cement is the cement that is prominent. It's cheaper to do. Magnesia is more expensive, but the way you create it creates half the footprint. The way you do it is you don't have to burn something to 2,400 degrees. You can do 1,200 degrees. So the way we created it was we wanted to use something that was more sustainable, knowing that it's not perfect, but it's a starting point. What we're looking at is concrete that actually sequesters CO2. So like a tree, where a tree will actually capture CO2, make it harder, and actually expel oxygen. We're trying to figure out, there are companies that have created concrete that does just that. And that's kind of the direction we're going. And part of the reason we're doing this is just just show there's a journey of what we're doing, that there's a better way of how you design product, whether it's a building or a piece of furniture. We just want to highlight that.
Yeah, I love that so much. That's the one thing I will say for anybody who is new to Outer or doesn't know the company very well. It is some of the smartest livable technology. I mean, I don't even know what the right word is, but I feel like within every step, there's always something really thoughtful about not only like the planet, but how we live, how we enjoy things. It always comes from all sort of sides. And so I feel always the most confident, I feel like my parents are some of the most discerning, like they're hard to please. They are really hard to please. My mom is a general contractor. My dad works wallpaper and paint. They work in the, home renovation space their whole life. And my parents came over and sat on the outer sofa, talked to me about the outer sofa. We're like, no, but for real, be real with me. And they bought a huge U shape for their brand new house. And so I feel like if it passed my parents' very snooty test, it is, it's really the best. So I just want to remind everybody real quick that we do have the $300 off, whatever your outer purchase is going to be. It's October 300. We'll get you $300 off. And then I want to, remind everybody, because we're going to do one more quick little thing with Emily about festive decor, because I want to know some tips that you have maybe about bringing festive decor outside. But I just want to remind everyone, right after that, we're going to announce the winner. So there will be a winner getting their conversation set, which again is one of the most versatile 2 pieces of furniture. And it's like a gateway drug. It's going to get you into outer and you're going to fall in love because it's the best. So Emily,
hey, Orly, I just want to clarify one thing. That the $300 off is for, it has to be a minimum purchase of $2,300.
Got it. Okay. So off of a piece of furniture.
So furniture. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Emily, talk about bringing some festive beauty outside into your outdoor space.
Yes. So as a designer, I'm a firm believer in investing in really timeless and classic main pieces for your home. And that involves the outside furniture too. And I think that's why I love the outer so much, is that it's just so timeless. It's so classic. You're not going to get tired of it. And, a couple of years to come, and you can make some really subtle, easy updates to it to make it fit into all the different seasons and all the different holidays. So like you guys were talking about earlier, I love pulling in texture. I mean, texture is a huge thing to make your space feel cozy outside, layering different patterns and different textures. These are neutral pillows, but they stand out so well against the tones in the outer sofa. And it's really easy. Part of why I love the outer is it's so easy to make it feel so cozy, which is layering textures and just simple neutral patterns on here. So, and then I drape the blanket across the back, and it's just simple updates. These are all, I think, from Target, but that can give it a really cozy holiday fallish vibe out here. Here's my other ones down here. So just layering different textures and patterns. And then, of course, like you mentioned earlier, it goes so well with the rug too, and the pattern and the textures within the rug. So super easy, to bring fall and holiday outside onto your timeless and classic pieces like the outer.
Yeah, I love that. That looks so, I want to go take a nap there. This is a quick way in which I match it. I clearly am ready for a holiday campaign or something, but just simple patterns and colors that start to feel really holiday that maybe are like 2 years ago is what you used inside, right? And you're kind of over it. You got new stuff. It's great to pull that stuff that's still in great condition, bring it outside so that it really does connect your space. And another thing is, remember all of the lights and the Christmas lights that you're putting in the front of your house. Think about swapping those and draping them over a back fence, bringing a little bit of that festive feeling in your backyard so that you've got that same smile and sparkle in your eye when you see that space. So I think it's obviously one of the easiest things. Anything that you've got as part of your indoor can come outside. I'd love to know, Kendall, if we have a question before we sort of get wrapped up and mention our winner.
They want to see the wide view of each of your spaces and your outer sofas, so everyone can see all the beautiful decor. If you guys could pull it back a little.
Yeah, I'm gonna reset mine.
Yeah. Hold on.
So let's see if I can move it back, because you can see sort of the simple, even just designing of it, and then I'll show because I've got this, but then I've got, let me see if I can angle it kind of like that so you can see both. So I've got the conversation set right here. I've got one, and then I'm going to rotate you around, and I've got the other one right there. So these are sort of the fall tones that I worked within, and I put out some of that pampas grass, which I always think is so pretty and holiday and fun. And then basically to do it, what I did was I wanted to tie in this color here. So I put this guy in the back. And I put this, which has a little bit more, just like a darker tone, white and darker tone, which will tie in with my blanket right in front of it. And then in the middle, to just kind of anchor it, I just throw a blanket, which I'll want to use for coziness, but also really ties in the darker element on that pillow and the black on that one there. And then that's my sort of, this is my whole little nook. The sun glare might be, there we go.
Love it. I'll show
Very
mine
nice.
because I'm back here, but kind of similar to you with the pillows. You can, some of you can see them in there. There we go. It's hard to show. I did different ones. So they're all fairly similar in the same color family, but they all have some different patterns and textures on them. And then we got some plaid and a solid over here. So really easy way to mix it up and make it feel cozy. And then I have the 5-piece set. So there's one of the ends and then there's the other end. And then our fire table is in the middle of it all.
Oh, that looks heavenly. And Terry, what about you?
Yeah, what's kind of nice is we all have like different spaces. I can't tell, but it looks like, Emily, you probably have the biggest space because you have multiple areas, and then Orly, you have the second, and I have the very small space. So I just walked up onto my little like landing, and I'll show you the beach is right there. And then this is as big as my space is. It is very small. It is 12 feet deep, and then the actual area itself is not that big. But I have it set up. I pulled back the 2 black Adirondack chairs, so I only have the sofa. I'll just shoot it like that. But you can see I have a small 5x8 rug. I have the 3-seat sofa, and the pillow set up with a teak table. I'll walk down so you can see it again.
I love it. And one of the tips that Terry, that you mentioned last time was when you're thinking about the rug, is that if you get a rug that is just basically within your space and not go.
As everyone has said. So that's it.
I love it. I love the pillows you have there. And I was mentioning how one of the tips that you gave on our last live stream was when you're choosing the size rug that, generally when you're indoors, I feel like we pick rugs that are larger, that will go underneath the legs of our sofas, kind of. That's kind of a traditional way of doing it. But that one of the things that you suggest, which I thought was very smart, is actually going within the space so that it's super easy to clean. Because I've used it, by the way, with like a water pressure attachment on my hose, which BT dubs, if you don't have, is the most fun thing you've ever seen. Like pops on and all of a sudden you feel like a superhero. You're like cleaning everything. But I've used it on my outer rug and it just wipes everything off because we had a lot of dark dust and ash from all the fires. And I literally used it and it took everything off. But I had thought of you and thought, oh man, if I didn't have it under my furniture, I wouldn't have even used anything. I could have slid it right out. So I think that's such a great note. So Kendall, I want to know if we want to do reveal the winner of the conversation set, which are these 2 pieces that you're going to absolutely fall in love with.
Yes, I'm so excited to announce Edward Bendick is our winner.
Edward,
congratulations, Edward.
Edward, you're going to love it. It is the absolute best. I mean, it really, you're going to be in love. I'm so glad that you got it. Congrats, Edward. And to everyone else, remember, you guys have October 300 that you can use towards getting your own outer sofa. Head over to the site, take a look at everything. It's absolutely incredible. I want to know if before we sign off, if there was any last question that we wanted to make sure to touch on, or Terry and Emily, if there was any final note that you guys had. Kendall, no question there. And then Terry and Emily, is there anything that you guys wanted to add before we let you go?
No, I want to just thank you more than anything. It was great to chat with you as always. And Emily, we've had many chats in the past, so it was nice to all of us get together and do this. So thank you both.
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me on. It was so much fun.
So fun. And everybody who tuned in and was here, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. This was so great. It's so fun for us. And so we really appreciate you joining us. And make sure to check out Outdoor's website, social media, all of the things. And we'll see you guys very soon. We'll see you at the next one. I think we've got another one planned very soon, and Terry and I are cooking up something good. So we will we'll keep you guys all posted.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.